What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here, giving you my playoff bubble for the 2020 NFL season and for Super Bowl 55. Which teams are the biggest contenders to win Super Bowl 55 and to hoist that Lombardi trophy at the end of the season? In this video, I will break down my playoff bubble. It's a concept that you may be familiar with from Colin Cowherd's show. And basically, he uses this playoff bubble as a way to visualize which teams in the NFL, in the AFC, and in the NFC are true contenders, and how close are these teams actually to winning that Lombardi this season. Let's waste no more time. Let's get into it. But before I give you my NFL playoff bubble for the 2020 season, make sure you do Gronk, spike that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos just like this. Here we are inside my Super Bowl bubble for the 2020 NFL season. Let's start off with the Super Bowl champs of a year ago and everyone's top team in the NFL right now to repeat, and that is the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs are the closest, in my opinion, square in the middle of that Super Bowl bubble to winning the Super Bowl once again. I think they have to be considered the Super Bowl favorites this season. They only have one loss to a division opponent. They have the best quarterback in football that's considered by many to maybe be the MVP this season. Travis Kelce is playing historic tight end football. Tyreek Hill is the most dangerous weapon in the league. Andy Reid will be the best coach in this playoff field on either side, the NFC or the AFC. The Chiefs are really good. They have great players. They've been there. They've done that. And their destiny, they believe, is to win back-to-back. So the Chiefs, to me, are the top team and the closest to hoisting that Lombardi. The number 2 team behind Kansas City, a lot of people would argue a few different ways. To me, it is the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills are the closest team, and to me, the closest AFC foe to knocking off the Kansas City Chiefs. I think when they played this season, we saw a game plan that I feel can be replicated in the playoffs to more success with the Bills to potentially knock off the Chiefs in a playoff matchup, maybe the AFC Championship, maybe the divisional round. But I feel like the Bills, they have the offense to go toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, Tyreek Hill and Stephon Diggs on either side. I do think the Bills slightly have the better defense. Sean McDermott is a very good coach. Brian Daboll is one of the better offensive minds in the game right now, offensive play callers in the game. With the way that Josh Allen can be just absolutely explosive, he is one of the few quarterbacks in the league that on one day, in one game, could outperform Mahomes. So I'll put the Bills as that number 2 team, second closest inside that Super Bowl bubble. My number 3 team is the New Orleans Saints. I understand they lost to the Eagles this past week. They were upset, but that was with Taysom Hill. I'm thinking the Saints with Drew Brees. Now, Drew Brees is not what he used to be, but when he's playing, he provides stability to the quarterback position, a smart decision maker, an accurate passer, and a guy that's been around the block, let's just say. Sean Payton's one of the 5 best coaches in football, one of the best offensive minds. He can script it to run, to pass. Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, Jared Cook. Emmanuel Sanders is a veteran who's been there in the playoffs as well. Their defense is playing better and better and better each and every week. They're great versus the run. I feel like they have a style that is conducive to outside or indoors. It just depends on how Drew Brees can perform. If they can protect him, I believe he can do it and they can win the Super Bowl. So they, to me, are the top team in the NFC right now. They have the least amount of flaws out of the entire conference. My number 4 team is the LA Rams. They are close to the Saints to me. I feel in the NFC, they match up best with the Saints because I feel Sean McVay is one of the few coaches in the NFC that can go really one-on-one with Sean Payton in terms of offensive craftiness and play calling and deception and just overall game planning. Then you look at their defense, which has to be the best in the league, in my opinion, with Aaron Donald up front, Jalen Ramsey in the back end. They have the secondary to match up with the Saints. They have Jalen Ramsey to take away Michael Thomas, force Drew Brees off his first target. They can slow down the run up front of Alvin Kamara. I feel their offense can do a good enough job where they have a multitude of different weapons and ways to attack, play action, run game, screen game, that they can move the ball well enough versus New Orleans to win that game. So I do think the Rams are a very interesting matchup for the Saints. They are the two most well-rounded teams in the NFC, and I do believe that they can win the Super Bowl this year. My number 5 team is surprisingly the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. For some people, the Bucs are extremely overrated, but to me, the Bucs are the most talented roster in football today. And as long as they can perform at their peak level in playoff time, which is a lot to ask because this season they have not come to play when they've played the top teams. But Tom Brady, they have a great set of weapons, good leadership, a great defense, honestly. At least front seven, they can pressure the quarterback. Their linebacker duo is the best in the game. I feel the Bucs have enough everywhere where they can run it, they can pass it. Their offensive line is underrated. Obviously, I talked about the front seven, but they have a Carlton Davis, a top-tier corner where he can at least hold his own with number one receivers. And if these young players can continue to improve, I do feel the Bucs can be put in a position where if they match up with the right teams, they can make a run. And we know Tom Brady is clutch as anyone in sports history when it comes to playoffs. So don't count out Tom Brady. I like this team a lot. I think if they put it all together at the right time, they will be a force. So Tampa Bay is just outside that center bubble. They're kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out of that inner bubble in the Super Bowl conversation this year. The next team is the Green Bay Packers, and they're similar to me as the Bucs. Now, I feel they're more flawed than Tampa Bay. I feel they have more questions than Tampa Bay. They have the better quarterback right now in Aaron Rodgers. I do feel they have the more dynamic and reliable offense with Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams. I like their offensive line. I do question their defense, and I do question their strength of schedule. Unlike Tampa, who has lost to a lot of good teams. They did beat Green Bay, but at least they've played good teams and seen them on the field and had the experience. That's big for Tampa. For Green Bay, they have not played many good teams this year, and that may hurt them come playoff time. I do feel Green Bay can get hot and win thanks to Aaron Rodgers' ability, but I question their defense and the ability to stop people in the clutch. So Packers are 1 foot in, 1 foot out as well. The next team is the Tennessee Titans, who are more in the outside bubble here. I think a lot would have to go right for Tennessee to win the Super Bowl. I think their defense would have to drastically overperform. And I think Derrick Henry would have to go on a rampage for them to win the Super Bowl. I think they would need to possess the clock versus every opponent, top-tier opponent they play in the AFC. Buffalo, Kansas City, maybe even Pittsburgh would be a challenge for them. But I think the experience of last year tells us that they are close to making that run. And if Mike Vrabel can get this defense together, I think the Titans have a fair chance. The next team is the Seattle Seahawks. They're on the outside of the bubble. To me, they don't have a big chance here. I think they have a small chance thanks to Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf being unstoppable. But I still question that defense. I question their old school style of offense, and I'm just not sure they have enough talent throughout their roster to overcome a team like LA, a team like New Orleans, or maybe even Tampa. Rodgers has also outperformed Russell Wilson, so I feel the Packers would win that game as well. The next team is the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers have made a drastic drop since just a couple of weeks ago where everyone thought they were the best team in the league. I never thought that, but I thought they were a top 3 team at once, and they're not. The Steelers, I just don't know what I'm going to see out of their offense. I don't think they're explosive enough to beat a Kansas City or a Buffalo, and I don't think their defense is great enough. Although it's good, it's not great enough to just take it over and win in January single-handedly. So they need better performance from their offense. They need more explosive plays. They need more balance. If that happens, the Steelers can make something happen. I'm not ruling it out. But I think they're more likely to lose their first game than they are to win the Super Bowl. So Pittsburgh's on the outside of the bubble. The next team is the Baltimore Ravens. I actually think the Ravens and Steelers have even odds because Lamar Jackson is just a different type of quarterback. He is a different threat and a dynamic player. He can turn into Superman, and because of that, he can upset teams, as well as them having a lot of veteran, beastly players on defense, and a defense that, when is healthy, pretty good, right? They're a good defense when healthy. They have a solid secondary when healthy. They have a pretty good front when healthy. They can defend the run and the pass equally as well. I would say they're probably better scheming to stop the pass because of their cornerbacks, but Baltimore is definitely a team that I wouldn't be surprised as a dark horse to go on a run. Remember, they were one of the favorites before the year, and now they're playing their best football of the season. So if that continues, Baltimore will be a threat in January. The next team is the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts, I don't see much of a chance of winning the Super Bowl. I think they can win a playoff game, but I think way too much would have to go right. I think they'd have to play perfect matchups, and I don't really know who that would be. I think Phillip Rivers would have to play his best football of the last 2 seasons, and they would have to dominate on the defensive line. So a lot would have to go right for Indy. I don't really see it. That's why they're far outside the Super Bowl bubble. And the final team is the Cleveland Browns. The Browns, thanks to that Monday Night Football performance where they did lose to Baltimore, but showed us that they belong inside that contender bubble area. I do think they're here to stay. I think they're a solid team. I like their coaching, but I don't know their defense, specifically their secondary and pass defense, is good enough to really go on a run, and I'm not convinced in Baker Mayfield come playoff time when he is probably the worst quarterback in the field. So when you're relying on a team that needs to run the ball to be successful, needs to have Myles Garrett go off, needs to have Baker play his best football, it's just a lot to ask. When you look at this field of teams, Baker would be the worst quarterback in this whole bubble. So that's why Cleveland's very unlikely to win the Super Bowl. But I do think they have a chance to win a playoff game the first time in a long time. That is my Super Bowl bubble for the 2020 NFL season and the 2021 NFL playoffs. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, Gronk spike the like button and don't forget to subscribe for more. It's Mitch. Let me know your Super Bowl bubble in the comment section below and which teams you believe actually has a legit shot of taking home that Lombardi trophy this season. Peace.